SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist from Division of Agronomy, ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa Campus, New Delhi. This lecture belongs to the course Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. The title of the lecture is Origin, History, Spread, Taxonomy, Morphology, Climate, Soil, Improved Varieties and Cultural Requirement of Sugar Beet Crop. Many of you must have heard that there are two important sugar crops. One is sugar cane and other is sugar beet. So today we are going to discuss details of sugar beet crop. And learning objectives are to explain to you origin, where it has originated, how it has spread, and what is classification of this crop, and morphology, how it looks from outside, what are the soil conditions where it performs better, and climatic requirement of sugar beet crop. And we will also detail you the varieties that are available in the country and different cultural requirement of this crop. Cultural requirement will include time of sowing, method of sowing, depth of sowing, field preparation, etc. So you can check first of all the plant. It looks like this, very green, lush green kind of plant is there. Some glossary, bricks. Scale indicates percentage of sugar by weight in a solution at a specified temperature. And crude protein is total amount of protein in a food or feed. Next is apical germination, type of germination where the cotyledons, first leaves of seedlings, pushed above soil surface due to elongation of hypocotyle. Means cotyledons comes out of soil in apical germination. Halophyte, plants adapted to saline conditions or plants that grow in saline soils are halophytes. Vernalization, flowering of certain plants is accelerated by exposure to prolonged cold temperature, essential for some plants to transition from vegetative to flowering phase. Certain period of coldness is required by certain plants to induce the flowering, and that process is called as vernalization. Glomerule, a cymose inflorescence in the form of a ball-like cluster of flowers, that is your glomerule. Drought, prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall leading to shortage of water, that is called as drought. Soil salinity, concentration of soluble salts in soil which can affect plant growth as well as soil structure, that is soil salinity. Soil compaction, soil particles are pressed together, reducing pore space between them, that is called soil compaction. Soil crusting, surface of soil forms a hard, dense layer as a result of raindrops or irrigation impacting soil surface. It affects infiltration of water, seed germination and emergence and root growth adversely. So soil crusting usually happens when there are rains, and that rains can make the soil crust, which is not really good for the plant. Germinating seedling may have problem to emerge out, and there may be restriction on the root growth also. No tillage, it can also be called as zero tillage, and crops are grown without disturbing soil through tillage operations like plowing or cultivation. Strip tillage, it involves tilling narrow strips of soil where crops will be planted while leaving remaining soil undisturbed, that is called strip tillage. Ridge planting, or it is also called as raised bed planting, wherein crops planted on elevated ridges or beds with furrows between them. So certain ridge makers are available and bed planters are also available for planting on the ridges. Now we go into the details of economic importance of this crop, sugar beet. So it is grown for commercial sugar production. A biennial crop stores food in underground part in first year. For commercial purpose, harvested for roots after first year containing 15 to 20% sugar. So basically for seed production point of view, it is a 2-year crop, but for production of roots or beet roots, it takes 1 year time. Green leaves after harvesting can be used as green fodder. It is really very succulent fodder and contains good protein, and it is liked by animals. So green beet tops, leaves may be used as mulch material also after drying it. After processing along with sugar, molasses, it is a byproduct, be used in cattle feed and fermentation industries. So byproduct like molasses has its uses. Leaves have almost double crude protein. Say 15% crude protein is there in leaves on dry weight basis than sugarcane leaves, which have 6 to 8%. And D value, that is digestibility value, is almost similar to sugarcane, which is 55 to 57. It can also be used as an alternative for grain in animal feed concentrate or green fodder or silage because it is rich in proteins. Apart from this, ethanol, beer upon fermentation be produced from impure sugary pulp, which is molasses. Means molasses can be used to produce ethanol or beer. Sugar beet root on harvest contains about 15 to 20% sugar, and known sugars are 2.6% along with water. It may contain about 75 to 76% water, and pulp is about 4 to 6%, that is leftover pulp. When 1 ton of sugar beet, say freshly harvested, is processed in mills, it yields about 121 kilogram sugar. Besides molasses, molasses may be 38 kilogram and pulp may be 58 kilogram. Now let us see origin, history and spread of this crop. So it originated in the Middle East along with Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Wild maritime beet, which is called as Beta maritima, estimated to have been domesticated about 8500 BC by selection into cultivated forms of wild annual, which is B. petellaris and B. webiana, B. procumbens, B for beta, and perennial species B. trigona, B. lomatogona, B. macrorhiza. So these are the important species. Leaves were the first portion of plant being utilized by prehistoric man as an edible product, and sugar production from its roots has been discovered in 1705, but it was not much exploited. So human being recognized the sugar content of its root at a very later stage. Later, Andreas Marggraf became the first scientist who discovered that pulverized sugar beet root contained identical crystal to that seen in sugarcane stalks. Then Achard, 1799, developed a process for extracting sugar from sugar beet. In 1811, importance of sugar beet for sugar emerged when British blockade had cut off French Empire's raw cane sugar supply from the West Indies. So in West Indies, sugarcane cultivation was being done at a larger scale, which was under British control, and then sugar was supplied from sugarcane to many European countries, including France. But at that time, the supply of sugarcane sugar was stopped by Britishers to the French. So therefore, French looked forward for some alternative. So it led to Napoleon's interest towards sugar or sugar beet. Subsequently, in 1830, this crop was introduced in North America. In 1840, factories were revived and United States' first successful sugar beet factory was built. That was built in year 1840. In 1850, sugar beet production spread to Russia and Ukraine, while in 1950s it was introduced in India as a new economic crop. So you can see that in India it was not a very old crop, it was actually introduced from outside. Experimental trials on this crop were undertaken by ICAR, Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and it was discovered that this was the best place in India to grow sugar beet crop. Between 1959 to 1969, it may be read as 1969, ICAR conducted a systematic multi-location assessment of exotic cultivars using appropriate techniques. Means instead of developing new varieties, what Indian scientists did, they got evaluated the germ plants which was introduced from outside. So according to early research, it may be cultivated in winter in northern India until Kashmir Valley and hills like Darjeeling and Shimla, identified to be ideal for producing the seed. G.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, and Kanpur Agricultural University and Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research were three centers under All India Coordinated Research Project on sugar beet. It was known as AICRP SB. SB is for sugar beet, launched in 1971. During the 1970s, sugar beet was commercially grown in Sri Ganganagar, which is in Rajasthan, and a commercial factory was established to utilize the crop. In 1994, Network Research Project on Sugar Beet was merged with All India Coordinated Research Project of Sugarcane. Now let us check the distribution, area and production in world. It has long been grown as a summer crop in relatively cool parts of temperate zones of the world. Further, it is being grown as a winter crop in warm temperate zones like South America, Africa, Middle East and South Europe. Russian Federation, France, USA, Germany and Turkey represent the main producers at international level. Now you can see the sugar beet production. It is in million tons in Russia, USA and China. And of course, Russia is the largest producer of sugar beet, followed by USA and third is China. So this data very clearly shows the trend in production in different countries. So let us see how much Russia is producing at present. In 1961 and 1970, 1980, production was up to here was less than 10 tons in now see the China. The production from 1961, 1970, 1980 was about less than 10 tons total production, and then in China the production start falling, and currently in year 2022 China is producing about 8.9 million tons of sugar beet. Now see the case of Russia. The data is available from say 2000, from 2000, 2010, 2022. The area is the production is almost increasing in Russia, and currently it is 48.2 million tons. Now see USA. In USA there has been ups and downs in the production, but you can see roughly it is almost constant, somewhere around 30 million tons. So currently in year 2022, USA produced 29.5 million ton, Russia produced 48.2 million tons and China produced 8.9 million tons of sugar beet. Now total sugar beet production in world, total it is for all the countries how much sugar beet is produced. So we can see in 1961 the total production was 160.5 million tons, which increased to 224 million tons in 1970, and in 1990 you can see the highest production was there, which was 309 million tons in the world, and then it started falling. In 2000 it was 250 million tons, in 2010 it was 238 million tons, and again there was increase in 2022. Currently we have about 261 million ton production of sugar beet in the world. Now total sugar beet area in the world in million hectares. In 1961 it was 6.9 million hectare, and then it increased to 7.6 million hectare in 1970, then again to 8.9 million hectare in 1980, and then the area of sugar beet started falling. It started falling continuously, and at present area is only 4.5 million hectare in the world, which is really very small area. So you can see that from 8.59 million hectare in 1980, it has fallen, or roughly it has become half in year 2022. So currently the total area of sugar beet in the world is 4.5 million hectare. Now coming to sugar beet productivity or yield in tons per hectare. It is quite interesting that more or less if we see that it is having a almost linear trend, means the sugar beet yield or productivity is continuously and slowly increasing in the world. For example, in year 1961 it was 23.2 tons per hectare, which has increased to 60.8 tons per hectare, almost 3 times, roughly more than 2.5 times increase in total productivity of sugar beet in the world. So finally in year 2022 you can see 60.8 tons per hectare is the productivity of sugar beet in the world. Distribution continues. Its cultivation is extending to subtropical countries of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So basically it is crop of temperate regions, but it is slowly getting entry into subtropical and tropical countries also. So in these subtropical countries it is mainly cultivated in winter season, spanning from October to May months. In subtropical Indian conditions, it is short season, rabi crop, that is in winter and grown from October, November to April and May. Tropical sugar beet is not yet cultivated on large scale in India, means during the warmer period of the year. In ethanol industry, use of sugar beet as a feed stock is in nascent stage or early stage. It is of course a potential crop for salt affected soils. In India roughly we have about 7 million hectare area under salt affected soils. So this crop is quite promising in those soils where it can be grown successfully. Now see the taxonomy or classification of this crop. It belongs to the kingdom Plantae. Division is Tracheophyta. Class is Magnoleopsida. Order is Caryophyllales. Family is Amaranthacea. Before it was considered as member of Chenopodiaceae, but now it is Amaranthacea, and scientific genus is Beta and species is vulgaris. So its scientific name is Beta vulgaris L. There are 3 subspecies of Beta vulgaris also. One is Beta vulgaris L, subspecies Adanensis, and then is Beta vulgaris L, subspecies is Maritima L, and then Beta vulgaris L, subspecies vulgaris. So this is your cultivated species. Beta vulgaris subspecies Maritima, the wild ancestor of the cultivated form. So you can see ancestor of Beta vulgaris, this is Maritima. Morphology is external appearance of this crop. So although it is a biennial plant, its commercial crop has a lifespan of 5 to 6 months. Sugar beet plant produces and stores sugar which could be extracted commercially. It is a temperate crop, but with time it has spread to some subtropical and tropical regions of the world. Apigeal germination occurs in first year, forming rosette of leaves. Rosette of leaves means the leaves are very closely bound. They bond on a small axis in large number, and storage of sucrose in roots. So sucrose is the sugar of beet. Possesses 18 chromosomes in 2 sets, making it a diploid plant. In second year, reproduction phase begins utilizing sugar stored in roots. So here flowering will happen in second year, and then pollination, fertilization, and finally seed formation. It has certain unique peculiarities compared to sugarcane. You can see the uniqueness. It is a halophyte, means it is highly tolerant to the soil salinity. It scavenges sodium ions suitable for ooser areas or saline soils, and it belongs to C3 group of plants. Vernalization is crucial for flowering, but it is not required in case of sugarcane. Similarly, sugarcane is a C4 plant, but this beet is C3 plant. Biennial for seed production and annual for root production. Selection through breeding augmented its sugar content in roots from 3.4% to 18 to 20% on fresh weight basis. So you can see that plant breeders or breeders, they developed varieties now which contain relatively higher sugar. Now see morphology of stem first. So stem grows to a height of about 1.5 to 2 meter. Shoot comprises 2 parts. One is petiole, to which leaves are attached, and other is your leaf blade. It forms crown of plant called foreshortened portion of stem, which is considered as a portion of root. Numerous large glabrous leaves in rosette form arising from crown. So crown is actually portion of the plant where stem or shoot part and root part join each other. So number of leaves arising depends on genetic, means different varieties will have different number of leaves, and also the environmental conditions, which include your climate like rainfall, temperature, and of course soil fertility. So stem forms a long lax spike-like inflorescence. So here you can see different parts. So on the lowest part is the root. You are seeing the root. This is the root, and crown is the part where shoot and root are joining each other. And you can see the leaves. There are 2 surfaces. One is abaxial surface, this one, and other is adaxial surface. Now see the morphology of the leaves. You are seeing the leaves on the right side. This is picture, and they are dark green, ovate, and tapered. Leaves arranged spirally around the crown. They are arranged spirally. Upper leaves are smaller, and blades are rhombic to narrowly lanceolate. Leaves have veins, veinlets. Veinlets are the small veins which emerge from the main veins. Lamina, midrib, petiole, and base. So net pattern of leaf is venation. Lamina is glabrous with an undulating margin. A contrasting feature of leaves is that uniform characteristics are lacking. Vital part of a leaf blade is where sucrose synthesis takes place. So that leaf blade is primarily a green part, and where photosynthesis occur, and due to photosynthesis you get different kind of carbohydrates including sugar produced. So texture, color is dark green to olive green, and thickness of leaves vary from plant to plant and variety to variety. So thickness is a character or genetic character and influenced by environmental conditions. So you can see different parts of the leaves. I seek your kind attention to see the leaf in picture, and the lowest part is your leaf base. It is called as hypopodium. The basal part of leaf which is attached to the stem, it is hypopodium. Then comes the middle part which is mesopodium, it is petiole. Stalk connecting lamina to base. So, this is actually lamina or you can call it blade, and it is there, they are connected through the petiole. And then midrib, the central dominant vein you are seeing, this is midrib. It is thick which connects petiole to apex. This is the apex part, the top part, apex part, which connects petiole to apex. Lateral veins arise from it. You are seeing many lateral veins may arise from this midrib. Contains vascular tissues. Vascular tissues are xylem for conducting water or nutrients and phloem for conducting food manufactured during photosynthesis. Now you see lamina, the main part, the portion where all the leaf functioning occurs like photosynthesis, gaseous exchange, etc. So, the whole part is your lamina or leaf blade. Now there may be some veinlets. So, veins salt transportation provide rigidity to lamina. So, it acts as a skeleton, contains vascular tissues that help in water, food and mineral transport. Now see the morphology of the root. It is a white taproot in conical shape and thicker on upper end and tapering at the lower end. Grow deep in soil up to 1 to 2 meter with a crown portion of root exposed out. So, crown is the portion where shoot and root meet each other. Roots have two vertical grooves in which lateral roots emerge out. Sucrose gets accumulated in roots, majority in vascular rings of phloem. There are three parts of root: crown, neck and true root. Crown is virtually a compressed stem comprising leaf buds and gives support to the leaves. Neck is narrow zone adjacent to crown and broadest portion of root, comprises the thickened hypocotyle. Dividing rest part into two halves, upper portion is resultant from seedling hypocotyle, while lower one, that is true root, is formed by a number of cambial rings. Now, for your convenience, you can see different parts of the root. So, first of all, we can start from the stem. This is stem here, and this part is crown part, where shoot and root are joining each other. And you can see next is your leaves, you can see there, and then you can see root hairs. Root hairs are on the lower side of the root, and these root hairs increases exposed root surface for water absorption. We understand the role of root hair. They are important for uptake of water and nutrients. And then there is one root cap at the last end of the root. It protects root meristem from friction of soil particles. And then you can see this is also called as tail part. And see other part of the root, you can see the dead dry leaf. So, the bottom leaves like this, they can dry and die. And this is zone of mature cells. The first of all, you can see this one zone is zone of mature cell, then zone of differentiation, this one, and then zone of elongation, and the lastly you see zone of cell formation. So, overall it is a taproot, and we can see the major characteristics of this. It is formed directly from the embryo, which is having radicle, always underground. Single primary root is main root, secondary and tertiary roots arise from primary root. Now you can see different shapes, sizes and color of roots. So, they can be orange, they can be red, they can be white, they can be deep red or yellow red, or variety of shapes. Some can be round, some can be long like this. So, number of shapes and sizes and colors are available in beetroot. Now, you must have heard one more term which is fangy roots. These are not always there, but under certain conditions, the fangy roots develop in this crop. Let us know in detail what are the fangy roots. Of course, you are seeing the picture on the right side. So, these kind of roots which are not the part of the main root, they are offshoot. So, such roots are called as fangy roots. So, morphological deviation in roots, they are fangy roots. Roots get fogged, they get cut, spangled roots, overdeveloped secondary roots arising alongside the taproot. So, taproot is one here in the central, but they arise side by side. So, develop due to diseases, soil condition or weather alterations. So, these are the reasons for development of fangy roots. They can develop due to diseases or certain soil conditions or weather alterations. So, soil condition, for example, under poor soil fertility, plant may have fangy roots. Shallow soils, soil acidity lead to fangy roots. Nematodes like Trichodorus species is another reason during early stages of growth. Means infestation by this nematode can also cause formation of fangy roots. Lateral roots take up the purpose of the main taproot, which causes fangy or furcated storage roots to form. So, these are going to adversely affect the productivity of beetroot, as well as they will also affect the sugar production. So, damage to main taproot can be done by fungus, rhizoctonia, infection, mechanical or chemical things or waterlogging may be the cause. Several difficulties occur due to formation of fangy roots. So, there are number of limitations, number of issues that arise due to formation of fangy roots. So, what will happen? Difficulty in lifting and have high dirt tear. Increase in harvester losses at the time of lifting. Lower sugar content, higher impurity than the body of the beet. Difficulty in cleaning of roots before processing. Higher breakage of the beets prior to diffusion, and causes losses due to reduction in the fine pulp. So, overall you are seeing that it is not advantageous, rather it is harmful. Now, see morphology of the beet flower. So, for flowering, a prerequisite condition is vernalization followed by long day length. You already explained to you what is vernalization. It is cold treatment, means giving lower temperature to a plant for a certain period of time to induce flowering. So, requirement for vernalization is obligate. You must have this kind of vernalization, otherwise it will not produce flowers. So, without which flowering will not take place. Favorable temperature for it is 5 to 10 degrees centigrade, and need of 40 days cold temperature exposure of plant for it to enter into the reproductive stage. Means normally it should be treated for 40 days at a temperature of 5 to 10 degrees centigrade to induce the flowering. Flowers are small, produced in dense spike-like manner. Inflorescence is basally interrupted. In 1 to 3 flowered glomeruli, very small flowers occur. Glomeruli present on axils of short bracts or at times in upper portion of inflorescence which lack bracts. Size of flower varies from 3 to 5 millimeter into 2 to 3 millimeter. Flowers have 5 stamens and semi-inferior ovary with 2 to 3 stigmas. Now, you can see this picture shows you the flowering in beet. On the right side, it is a close-up, and you can see the very light or creamy color, yellowish color of the flowers. Now, you can see inflorescence bearing buds, this, and this one also more clear picture. So, here you can see, here is the flower, they are in cluster, and within flower you will have anthers, and you have this elongated stem, and this is the bract, and you also see the bud. Flowers mainly wind pollinated. but at times can be insect pollinated also. At flowering, plant energy is no longer used for developing the root. It is rather diverted towards flower production, followed by seed production. So, color of flowers varies from green to white. There are different shades, and flowers are clustered at one place, having 2 to 8 flowers in one cluster or a solitary in form. So, there may be some variation. Now, you can see the variability in color of flowers. You can see here the yellow color, you can see here a yellow orange color and then white, and variety of colors are there. Flowers are bisexual and pentamerous. Flowering asynchronous. Asynchronous means all flowers do not bloom or do not flower simultaneously. Flowering period is approximately 28 days or even longer, means it happens for 28 days. So, in monogerm and multigerm varieties, flowers are borne singly or in cluster or on a stalk. So, it depends upon varieties and climatic conditions. So, it may be in clusters or it may be singly also. And monogerm are the varieties or are the beads in which one seed will give one seedling. In multigerm, it can give 2 or more seedlings on germination. Next is fruit morphology. Fruit is a nut glomeruli of flowers or group of flowers become hard in texture and connate form fruit. Perianth surrounds fruit where fruit is situated at its swollen base. You can see the fruit on the right side. Perianth are leathery and incurves in shape. Normally, a fruit contains 2 to 5 seeds. Now, let us see seed morphology. So, seed circular is small, just 1 to 2 millimeter diameter, and lighter in weight, ranges from 1.5 to 6 gram. See, test weight is very low. It is just 1.5 to 6 gram for 1000 seeds, and dark brown in color. Seed comprises seed ball, which consists of either 2 or more seeds. Seed ball is a dry body formed by floral receptacles having an irregular shape. Sugar beet seeds are of 2 types. One is monogerm, other is multigerm seeds. So, monogerm seeds possess a solitary, means single. Solitary means single or one embryo, which while multigerm possesses more than one embryo. When we plant monogerm seeds, manual thinning is not required, which reduces the cost of sugar beet cultivation. But when we plant this multigerm seeds, then we need this thinning operation to weed out certain extra plants. Now, you can see the seed, the close view of the seed. Pollination. It occurs through cross pollination and can intercross freely. Small pollens dispersed through the wind, means major mechanism of pollination is through winds. So, pollens transported by vectors also like thrips and insects, and according to Archimovich, pollens dispersed through wind can reach a minimum distance of 4500 meter with a height of 5000 meter. Means wind can carry these pollen grains up in the sky or up in the atmosphere and for a long distances up to 5 kilometers. Let us check the climate and soil requirement of this crop. So, primarily it has been a crop of temperate zone in northern hemisphere at a latitude of 30 to 60 degree north. Region where day length is more than 14 hours is most suitable for sugar beet growth because it is a short day plant. Normally under temperate conditions, it requires 90 days after emergence to harvest along with bright sunny days. Approximately 15 degrees centigrade is ideal soil temperature for seed germination. Temperature between 20 to 22 degrees centigrade excellent for plant development and sugar accumulation in roots, whereas temperature more than 30 degrees centigrade slows down sugar accumulation. So, that is why it is not very common in tropical countries. In contrast, higher temperature, which is more than 30 degrees centigrade, also favors the fast growth, but that will be vegetative growth. A fairly cool climate with an adequate rainfall, bright sunshine at different growth phases favors healthy beet crop. Crop does not prefer high rainfall or high soil moisture. It affects development of root and sugar synthesis. So it is both drought and salinity tolerant species, means its water requirement is less. New varieties have been developed that can be successfully grown in tropical conditions as well. End of September to middle October is the favorable time for cultivation in Indian climatic conditions, particularly in northern India, subtropical India. Its time, suitable time is end of September to middle of October. Its commercial cultivation is possible in plains during winter season. It can be grown successfully in any region with temperature ranging from 12 to 45 degrees centigrade during crop season in India, and say from October to May. So it can be grown on wide range of soils with medium to slightly heavy textured, well drained soils preferred for good germination and growth. So this crop is highly sensitive to waterlogging. Therefore, we need to choose the soils where subsurface drainage is fast, or otherwise in soils where accumulation of water is not there on the surface. So it has a deep root system, and light soil with less water holding capacity causes drought-like conditions, which leads to reduction in yield. Similarly, heavy soil with less drainage causes wet periods, which are also harmful. So in wet periods, there is often too little oxygen in soil for maximum growth. So what happens, these wet conditions in soil create anaerobic environment, which leads to shortage of oxygen, hence root growth is affected adversely. It can be grown in salt affected soils. That is the interesting point about this crop, and it performs better within pH range of 6 to 8. It does not grow well on highly acidic soils. Black cotton soils of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu are also good for its cultivation. In Punjab, it can be grown on well-drained soils, loamy sand to clay loam, though it prefers sandy loam soils, because in sandy loam soils you will have faster drainage. There will not be waterlogging situation. Let us see the climate and soil requirement continues. Soil compaction hinders root movement and result in formation of spangled fogged roots. Crust development at soil surface can adversely influence seed germination, causing poor crop growth, as has been reported by Sanghera et al. 2022. Let us see varietal development or improved varieties of sugar beet. So sugar beet has two types of varieties, monogerm and multigerm. So monogerm varieties they produce one seedling at a time from one glomerule, whereas multigerm varieties give rise to 3 to 4 seedling from a single seed, because in multigerm varieties there are more embryos. If there are 4 embryos, it can result in 4 seedlings. But in monogerm variety, there is always one embryo which will give rise to one seedling. So generally monogerm varieties are preferred because singling and thinning operation needed in multigerm varieties. There may be many seedlings in one place, so you need to remove many seedlings, therefore to keep one seedling. So this operation is not needed in monogerm varieties. For sugar beet, seed production in subtropical region of India is at altitude of 5,000 feet from mean sea level is required. It is not that seed production of this crop can be done everywhere. It is not. It has to be done at an altitude of about 5,000 feet. Such station was established by Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research, Lucknow at Mukteshwar, which is in Kumayu Hills of Uttarakhand. In India, there is limited sugar beet breeding work, which includes evaluation of germplasm for its adaptability and introduction. So initially, we just evaluated the exotic germplasm, but definitely there are certain purposes of developing varieties in sugar beet. The topmost purpose has to be higher yield of the beets or higher beet yield. Second is improvement in quality, means we should have higher sugar percentage. And third important objective of breeding could be development of varieties against biotic stresses. Main biotic stresses are diseases caused by fungi, caused by bacteria, caused by viruses, and so on. There can be many biotic causal organisms to cause diseases. So varieties are required to be developed for these kind of biotic stresses. Similarly, sugar beet plant or any other plant can suffer from certain abiotic stresses also. Abiotic stresses are not living in nature. It may include bad kind of soil, adverse soil pH, adverse water logging condition in the soil, so much of dryness, and there may be mineral deficiencies and so on. So varieties are also developed for certain abiotic stresses. For example, this crop is very much sensitive to water logging. Therefore, we can develop varieties which are tolerant up to some extent to the water logging. Now, under these sugar beet programs, LS6, a diploid multi-germ varieties was developed through modified mass selection. So these are the methods of breeding. There are different methods of breeding like your pure line selection, mass selection, bulk method, mutation breeding, hybridization. So many methods are there. But this particular variety LS6 was developed through the method of mass selection. And then certain composites were also developed. Composites are the varieties where many parents are combined to produce it. So IISR composite 1, Panth composite 3, LKC 2, LKC 95, and there were also certain synthetic varieties. They are called as synthetics. Panth S10, LKS 10, they were also developed. That means in sugar beet crop, India developed certain composite as well as certain synthetics. Testing of exotic varieties in India was done by number of workers. You can see how the testing or evaluation of exotic varieties was done in India. Deshpande in 2013 tested varieties like SZ35, PAC 6008, Magnolia in Deccan Plateau, and reported Magnolia as higher yielder, and PAC 6008 had better quality. Here better quality means it must have been containing higher sugar percentage. Balakrishnan and Selva Kumar in year 2008 evaluated tropical sugar beet hybrids. Tropical sugar beet hybrid means the hybrids which can be grown under higher temperature conditions. And they were developed by private company Syngenta. And Kaveri recorded highest root yield, this Kaveri, while Shubhra was better in Brix percentage. So you can see as you generally increase the sugar percentage in this crop, the yield decreases. So it is kind of inverse relationship. One variety which is giving you more yield, fine, it is more yield. But another variety which is giving you less yield, but it is giving you more sugar. Varieties Posada, Doroti and HI0064 suited for Belgaum district of Karnataka for higher yields. Means it is not that one variety can work in all the regions of the country. Sometimes their location is specific. They give better result under a certain location. Doroti variety recorded higher Brix, 16.7%. This is sugar percentage, and top yield was from HI0064. Again, you will see variability in sugar percent and yield. Under Punjab conditions, varieties of tropical sugar beet For example, Ramon Sakaya 06, IISR Composite 1, Mejanopoli LS6, Tribal, Pant Composite 3 and Pant S10 were recommended. So you see there is basket of choices for Punjab. Many varieties have been developed for Punjab region. Variety Padosa proved superior over H10064 at Ludhiana for root and sugar yield. Sanghera and co-workers 2016 evaluated 13 varieties like Magnolia, Shubhra, Calixta, SB893, H10671, SB894, SV887, H10826, SV892, Kaveri, Indus, SB889 and SB891. So in total, they evaluated 13 varieties and their result was that germination from 60%, means they reported germination from 60% in Calixta to 90% in Kaveri, and highest root length 31.33 centimeter was recorded in Magnolia. So under Indian conditions, this Magnolia proved better. Kaveri was most promising for root diameter. You can see in so far root diameter, it was 46.2 centimeter and volume was 1756 cubic centimeter. And root yield of Kaveri was highest, followed by Indus and SV892. Singh and associates in 2019 evaluated 5 genotypes: Magnolia, Kaveri, Calixta, Shubhra and Indus at different locations in Punjab. So highest dry root weight and sucrose percent in genotype Calixta, while Magnolia gave highest juice purity. So you can see among all these 5 varieties, Calixta was good in the sense that it produced highest beet yield and also the sugar percentage was high in this variety Calixta. Now after seeing the varieties, we go to the cultural requirement. It may include land preparation, sowing time, sowing method, etc. So in land preparation, selection of suitable field and land preparation essential before establishment of a crop. Main objective of land preparation is to improve soil structure, management of crop residue of previous crop and controlling the weeds. And also fine seed bed is required in this case because seed is very light and very small in case of sugar beet. So tillage requirement depends on soil type, quantity of previous residues and weed presence. For example, suppose soil is too light, in that case you won't need much tillage compared to soils which are heavier. In heavier soils, normally you put more tillage. Primary tillage done by chisel or moldboard plough, disc harrow and cultivators. Crop has also been grown successfully with no tillage or strip tillage operation. In no tillage, you need not to go for any kind of tillage, which is also zero tillage. It is better to adopt laser land leveling for saving of resources. So actually it increases water use efficiency, nutrient use efficiency, variety of benefits are there from the laser land leveling. And 2 to 3 plowings followed by planking are sufficient for this crop. Now let us see sowing time. What is the optimum sowing time of this crop? Amin and co-workers in 1989, they found no significant differences between 1st and 15 October sown crop with respect to yield and quality parameters. So from this, the main message is that one can go for sowing of sugar beet during 1st to 15 October. Early sowing during October gave higher root yield and sucrose content than late sowing. So same was supported by Balakrishnan and Selva Kumar that early sowing during October was better for higher yield as well as sugar content. Ahmed 2012 they found that crops sown in November gave highest root and sugar yield. So it depends upon location. The ideal time of sowing will vary from one location to another location. Under Punjab conditions, whole October to middle November recommended as optimum sowing time. Buller and co-workers in 2009, they reported 25 September to 10 October, sown crop had significantly higher single root weight and sugar yield over 25 October. Best sowing time for Punjab is from 15 October for early root swelling, higher root and sugar yield. Or we can simply conclude that for Punjab, from 15 to 30th October could be the better time of sowing for sugar beet. Now planting methods. Planting methods include crop establishment methods, crop spacing and seed depth. Most favorable row spacing is 45 to 60 centimeter, while 55 centimeter row spacing is most commonly used globally. In case of mechanical harvester and intercropping with other row crops, it can be planted in 75 centimeter row spacing. Means if you want to use mechanical harvester or if you go for intercropping, then spacing can be wider, can go up to 75 centimeter. In Punjab, direct seeding on ridges was better than transplanting, and then flat and ridge sowing were equally effective for yield and quality. So in Punjab, either you can go for flat planting or ridge sowing. Sugar beet is sensitive to stagnant water, which may be avoided by ridging. So what happens in flat bed methods, there can be accumulation of water, but if you go for ridge planting, means you will have ridge and furrow system, then water can accumulate in furrow and the crop which is sown on the ridges can escape the water logging. Direct sowing increase plant density and mean weight of individual roots. Punjab, sowing recommended on flat beds or on ridges is spaced at 50 centimeter and plant to plant spacing is 20 centimeter. Optimum plant population is 1 lakh per hectare. Crop sown at sowing depth of 2 to 3 centimeter has recorded higher production efficiency, water and sugar productivity than 4 to 5. Means the crop should be sown shallower. So you can see planting flat method and ridge and furrow method. Harvesting. Sugar beet crop matures in about 5 to 6 months under tropical and subtropical environment. Harvesting starts from mid-April to May end. Indicators of maturity are yellowing of older leaves and around 15 to 18% bricks of root at harvest. Harvested beetroot should be handled gently while removing soil and trash to minimize breakage and bruising. In developed countries, harvesting is done by expensive machinery, defoliator to remove leaves and lift loader harvester to dig roots from soil and load them in trucks. In India, harvesting done by sugar beet harvesters. Potato diggers can also be used or cultivator or by manual digging. Herman reported pinch wheel beet harvesting machines increased yield over the spike wheel harvester. Pinch wheel harvester can be used to harvest fields a few days earlier after the last irrigation than spike wheel harvested. Roots be processed within 48 hours after harvesting. Beet leaves be allowed to remain in field to serve as a green manure or alternatively they can be fed to the cattle. Loss of sugar after harvesting is due to unfavorable weather. Reduction in harvested sugar yield occur before roots are processed in factory. Therefore, this lecture ends here. Dear students, hope that you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.